I never planned on getting married that day. In fact, when I woke up that morning, I thought I was just going to be the best man at my best friend's wedding. By sunset, I was standing at the altar, holding the hand of the bride he abandoned. And if someone had told me that would happen, I would have laughed in their face. My name is Ethan Carter, and this is the craziest day of my life. The wedding was taking place at a beautiful vineyard just outside Napa Valley, California. Everything looked perfect. Rows of white chairs stretched across the green grass. Fresh roses lined the aisle. A soft breeze carried the scent of lavender through the air. Guests were smiling. Champagne glasses clinked. A string quartet played softly in the background. It was the kind of wedding people dream about. And honestly, nobody deserved that dream more than Olivia Bennett. Olivia wasn't just beautiful. She was the kind of woman who made every room feel warmer the second she walked into it. Kind, funny, loyal. The kind of person who remembered everyone's birthday. The kind of person who checked on you when you were having a bad day. And she loved my best friend, Ryan Mitchell, more than anything. The problem was, Ryan didn't deserve her. I knew that long before anyone else did. Ryan and I had been friends since middle school. We'd been through everything together. Football games, college parties, bad breakups, career failures, successes. But over the years, something changed. The older Ryan got, the more selfish he became. He always wanted more. More attention, more money, more admiration. Nothing was ever enough. And while Olivia was planning their future together, Ryan kept acting like marriage was some obstacle standing between him and freedom. 3 nights before the wedding, we were sitting at a bar downtown. I still remember the conversation. Ryan stared into his whiskey glass. "You ever think about how crazy this is?" he asked. "What? Getting married?" I laughed. A little late to be asking that. He didn't laugh back. Instead, he sighed heavily. "I'm serious, Ethan." Something about his tone bothered me. I leaned forward. "You love Olivia, don't you?" He looked away. That should have been my first warning. "I don't know," he muttered. My stomach tightened. "What do you mean you don't know?" Ryan drained his drink. "I just feel trapped." I stared at him. "Then why propose?" He didn't answer. Instead, he stood up. "Forget it." And he walked out. That conversation haunted me for days. I almost called Olivia. Almost told her everything. But Ryan was my best friend. I convinced myself he was just nervous. Cold feet. Every groom gets nervous, right? God, I wish I'd listened to my instincts. Because 30 minutes before the ceremony, my phone rang. "Ryan." I answered immediately. "Where the hell are you?" Silence. Then I heard his voice. "I can't do it." My blood turned cold. "What?" "I can't marry her." I stood frozen behind the venue. "Ryan, stop joking." "I'm not joking." My heart slammed against my ribs. "People are here." "I know." "Olivia is here." "I know." "Then get your ass back here." Another silence. Then he said something I'll never forget. "I'm already at the airport." The world stopped. "What?" "I'm leaving." I couldn't breathe. "Ryan, I need to figure out my life." "You figure it out after the wedding." "No." My hands shook. "Do you realize what you're doing?" He exhaled, then said softly, "Tell Olivia I'm sorry." The call ended. I stared at my phone, unable to move, unable to think. The wedding music continued in the distance. Guests laughed. Waiters served drinks. Nobody knew the groom had just disappeared. And somewhere inside the bridal suite, Olivia was smiling, thinking the happiest day of her life was about to begin. I knew I had about 60 seconds before her entire world shattered. What I didn't know was that before the day ended, my life would change forever too. I had delivered bad news before. A job layoff, a family death, a breakup, but nothing prepared me for opening the door to Olivia's bridal suite, knowing I was about to destroy the happiest day she had spent a year planning. She turned when I walked in, and for one terrifying second, she smiled. "There you are," she said. "Have you seen Ryan?" The coordinator's starting to panic. My throat closed. Olivia was standing in front of the mirror in a white satin gown that looked like it had been made specifically for her. Her hair was pinned up elegantly, a few loose curls framing her face. She looked radiant and completely unaware. I glanced at the bridesmaids. They sensed something was wrong immediately. "Can we have a minute?" I asked. They exchanged uneasy looks before quietly leaving the room. The door clicked shut. Olivia's smile faded. Ethan. I couldn't meet her eyes. Ryan called me. Okay. I took a breath that felt like swallowing broken glass. He's not coming. Silence. Her expression didn't change at first, as if her brain refused to process the words. What do you mean? He left. Left where? He's at the airport. She blinked. Once. Twice. Then she laughed. A short, confused laugh. That's not funny. I know. Is this some kind of prank? No. Her face drained of color. Ethan. I'm so sorry. She took a step backward. No. Another step. No, no, no. She shook her head violently. He wouldn't do that. Olivia. Call him. I did. Call him again. I dialed. Straight to voicemail. She grabbed the phone from my hand and called herself. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Her breathing became shallow. This isn't happening. She looked around the room wildly. People are waiting. I know. My parents flew across the country. I know. I bought a dress. Her voice cracked. I planned everything. Then the tears came. Not graceful tears. Not movie tears. She collapsed onto the floor in her wedding gown and broke apart right in front of me. Why, she sobbed. Why would he do this? I knelt beside her. I don't know. That was the worst part. I truly didn't know. For the next 10 minutes, I just sat there while she cried. The string quartet continued playing outside. Guests kept chatting, unaware that the ceremony had already died before it began. Eventually, there was a knock on the door. The wedding coordinator peeked in. We need to start the processional. I stood. There won't be a processional. Her eyes widened. What? The groom isn't coming. The woman went pale. Within minutes, panic spread through the venue. Olivia's parents rushed in. Her mother started crying. Her father looked like he wanted to kill someone. Guests whispered. Phones came out. Rumors exploded across the lawn. And through all of it, Olivia sat motionless in her wedding dress, staring at nothing. That's when I realized something that terrified me. Ryan hadn't just abandoned a wedding. He had publicly humiliated the woman he claimed to love. And I was the only person in the room who had seen this coming. As the vineyard descended into chaos, I made a silent promise. I wouldn't let Olivia face this alone. At the time, I thought that meant helping her survive the worst day of her life. I had no idea that promise would eventually lead me back to the altar. The days after the wedding were brutal. The video of Ryan abandoning Olivia spread online faster than anyone expected. Guests posted photos. People talked. Everyone had an opinion. Meanwhile, Olivia disappeared. For almost 2 weeks, she barely answered messages. One evening, I drove to her apartment with takeout. When she opened the door, I barely recognized her. You don't have to keep checking on me, she said. Too bad. I'm stubborn. For the first time in days, she smiled. That small smile became dinner. Dinner became conversations. Conversations became friendship. As weeks passed, I learned things about Ryan I had never known. He had hidden debts. He had been messaging other women. He had lied repeatedly. The man I thought was my best friend wasn't who I believed he was. One night, Olivia showed me screenshots she had recently found. Ryan had been planning to leave for months. My stomach turned. He knew, she whispered. He knew before he proposed. I couldn't believe it. The more truth we uncovered, the more I realized Olivia hadn't lost the love of her life. She had escaped a disaster. And somewhere along the way, I stopped visiting her because I felt responsible. I started visiting because I genuinely wanted to see her. That realization scared me, because for the first time, I wasn't thinking about Ryan. I was thinking about her, and that changed everything. 6 months later, life finally felt normal. Then Ryan came back. I got a text. We need to talk. I almost ignored it, but curiosity won. When I arrived at the restaurant, Ryan looked different. Older, tired, desperate. Ethan. I sat down silently. He took a deep breath. I made a mistake. I laughed. A mistake. Leaving. You think? He lowered his eyes. I want Olivia back. The words hit me like a punch. You don't get to do that. I love her. No. You loved yourself. His face hardened. Then he dropped a bomb. I know you've been spending time with her. I froze. The truth was, I had fallen for her. But neither of us had acted on it. Not yet. Ryan stood. Stay away from her. I laughed again. You abandoned her. I still have a chance. As he walked away, I realized this story wasn't over. Not even close. When Olivia found out Ryan had returned, everything became complicated. Old wounds reopened. Old memories resurfaced. For weeks she struggled. Part of her hated him. Part of her wanted answers. Watching her suffer broke my heart. One night she asked me something. Ethan, do you think he ever loved me? The question crushed me, because I knew what she really wanted. Closure. Not Ryan. Closure. I wanted to tell her how I felt. How every day I admired her strength. How every laugh mattered to me. How I was completely in love with her. But I couldn't, because if I said it now, it would sound like I was taking advantage of her pain. So I stayed silent. And that silence became torture. Then things got worse. Ryan started showing up everywhere. Flowers, messages, apologies, promises. For the first time since the wedding, I felt like I might lose her. And there was nothing I could do about it. A month later, Olivia called me. Her voice sounded different. Calmer. Stronger. I made a decision. I drove to the beach immediately. She was sitting on a bench facing the ocean. What happened? She smiled. I finally realized something. What? The man I loved never existed. I sat beside her. He was a fantasy. Tears filled her eyes. I kept grieving a version of Ryan that wasn't real. For the first time, she looked free. Then she turned toward me. And there's something else. My heart pounded. What? You were there when everyone else left. Neither of us spoke. The waves crashed against the shore. The sunset painted the sky gold. Then she reached for my hand. And everything changed. Dating Olivia felt natural. Like something that should have happened years earlier. We laughed, traveled, built memories. There were no games, no lies, no drama, just honesty. For the first time in my life, I understood what real love looked like. Then Ryan found out. And he exploded. He called, texted, threatened, accused me of betrayal. Finally, I agreed to meet him. He slammed his fist onto the table. You're stealing her. I stared at him. You left her. She's supposed to forgive me. No, she's supposed to live her life. His anger turned into desperation. He couldn't stand losing something he once took for granted. But this time, neither Olivia nor I were backing down. And Ryan was about to learn a painful lesson. Scene 8. The altar moment. A year later, I stood at another altar. The same vineyard. The same location. The same rows of chairs. But this time, everything was different. I wasn't the best man. I was the groom. And Olivia was walking toward me. Guests cried. Her father smiled proudly. The sun glowed behind the vineyards. It felt surreal. Then I noticed movement. Ryan, standing at the back, watching. For a moment, our eyes met. I expected anger. Instead, I saw regret, the kind that lasts forever, because he finally understood what he had thrown away. Olivia reached me. She squeezed my hands. You okay? She whispered. I smiled. Never better. The officiant began speaking. But honestly, I barely heard a word. Because after everything we'd survived, after heartbreak, after betrayal, after pain, she was finally here. And this time nobody was running. When the officiant asked if I took Olivia as my wife, I didn't hesitate. I do. The words felt bigger than a promise. They felt like destiny. Then Olivia said, I do. And just like that, the woman left at the altar became my wife. At the reception, someone asked me a question. When did you know? I looked across the room at Olivia and smiled. The day everything fell apart. Because that's the funny thing about life. Sometimes your greatest heartbreak becomes the beginning of your greatest blessing. Ryan thought walking away would set him free. Instead, he lost the best thing he ever had. Olivia thought her life ended that day. Instead, it finally began. And me? I learned that love isn't about grand speeches. It's about showing up. Again and again. When it's hard. When it's inconvenient. When nobody's watching. Years later, people still talk about the wedding where the groom disappeared. But that's not how I remember it. I remember it as the day I met the woman I was always meant to marry. And every morning when I wake up beside her, I'm grateful Ryan walked away. Because if he hadn't, I never would have stepped forward and said the words that changed both our lives forever. I'll marry her.